The top stories tonight in Y News. President Bongbong Marcos has signed into law the bill moving the 2022 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections to October 2023. Preemptive evacuation orders have been issued for high-risk areas in Baler Aurora due to the threat of Tropical Depression Maymay. Commuters may start seeing the partial operations of the LRT-1 Cavite Extension project by next year. And Singapore extends the recall of a popular instant noodles product from Indonesia after discovering a pesticide in the chili powder. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, October 12, 2022. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. First in the news, the local government unit of Baler Aurora ordered the preemptive evacuation of all residents living in high-risk areas due to the threat of Tropical Depression Maymay. From Baler Aurora, Asher Cadapan Jr. tells us the details live. Yes, Asher, good evening. How is the weather situation there in your area?
Yes, good evening, Will. We are here in the coastal area of Baler Aurora and we experienced short light rain in here earlier. Although the weather still seems normal in here despite the possible onslaught of Tropical Cyclone Maymay, with its center estimated to be just around 300 kilometers away from here. But we have yet to feel any strong gust of wind, nor has the water current here in the coastal area intensified. However, the Municipal Disaster Risk Reduction Management Office of Baler says the local government unit has activated its Emergency Operations Center. This is to ensure safety of concerned residents as Baler has a long coastal line facing Pacific Ocean and is prone to storm surge. Baler MDRRMO Officer in Charge Hector De La Torre Jr. says 4 barangays are usually most affected by such occurrence. During the recent Typhoon Karding, about 3,000 residents in the local government unit evacuated to safety.
Unang-una, ang Baler po kasi is a catch basin po yan, ano. So napaka-prone natin sa flooding. Likewise, kung may bagyo siya, yung storm surge.
The Baler MDRMO finds evacuation of residents challenging until they have implemented an alarm system to alert concerned citizens of the possible hazard. Despite this, the LGU calls for early evacuation of affected residents prior to the possible onslaught of tropical cyclone.
Kung sa palagay natin ay hindi natin kakayanin or mahihirapan po tayo, ano, pinakamabisa po at pinakamatipid na paraan para mailigtas natin yung sarili natin is mag-evacuate po tayo sa pinaka-safe na lugar po.
Well, the municipal government of Baler has assured that they have already pre-positioned equipment or their response personnel, their vehicles, food and medicine should situations escalate. That's the latest. Back to you, Will.
Yes, thank you, Asher Cadapan Jr. reporting live from Baler Aurora. Meanwhile, Pagasa forecasted Tropical Depression Maymay to weaken into a low-pressure area in the next 12 hours. Based on the latest bulletin of the State Weather Bureau, Maymay is estimated to be 180 kilometers east of Casiguran, Aurora. It has maximum sustained winds of 45 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 55 kilometers per hour. Moderate to heavy with at times intense rains are expected over Cagayan, the northern portion of Isabela, Apayao, Kalinga Mountain Province, and Ifugao, while light to moderate with at times heavy rains over Ilocos region and the rest of Cagayan Valley and Cordillera Administrative Region. Maymay is forecast to continue generally moving westward towards the eastern coast of Isabela or Aurora. In other news, the Department of Agriculture provides retailers with a cheaper supply of red onion. DA visited a market in Quezon City earlier today where the large majority of resellers are not yet complying with the suggested retail price. Ray Pelayo reports why.
The Department of Agriculture asks vegetable vendors at the Kamaning Market how they might assist them in adhering to the agency's set suggested retail price for red onions. Belinda de Guzman, like most of the vendors, charges more than 200 pesos per kilogram for her onion. A much lower price of onion is offered to her by Assistant Secretary Christine Evangelista.
Gaano katagal mo binibenta ang 4 na kilo?
Isang araw lang.
O so bukas pwede na?
Pwede na.
Pwede na. O so bukas makakasunod ka na 170 ang SRP natin.
Sige po.
Ha?
Oh.
Other vendors like Ariel Lubiano were able to accept the DA's offer for a significantly lower supply price of onions. He placed it in his outlet right away so that customers could buy it.
Ang maganda lang ngayon na dinala ng Kadiwa is may pagpipilian ng tao. Kasi may mga nabili na rin kaming mahal na.
DA reported that some suppliers accepted a price reduction. The Kadiwa store will enable supply distribution in various markets within Metro Manila.
Hindi lamang naman po confiscation ang ating tinitingnan. We want to help our retailers and consumers find something na pwede nilang ibenta na tamang halaga.
The DA will collaborate with the local government to assist stakeholders in complying with the SRP. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Malacanang certified that all crime related to the Philippine offshore gaming operator activities in the country are closely monitored by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
The Philippine National Police is tasked with preventing and controlling crimes connected to Chinese-run Philippine offshore gaming operator operations, according to Press Secretary Officer in Charge Cheloy Garafil. However, she claims that the President is closely monitoring the situation.
Of course, the President is closely monitoring this, and as far as the President concerned, ang PNP po ang in charge dito sa usapin na ito.
This occurred after the Chinese embassy rejected the Philippines' inclusion on a purported blacklist for Chinese tourists due to the prevalence of kidnappings and other crimes connected to POGO operations. Yusek Garafil happily accepted this clarification, mentioning that the Philippines share the Chinese embassy's view of tourism.
We share the sentiment of the Chinese embassy in the Philippines that tourism is an important facet to our relationship, and we look forward to continuing with that relationship as we continuously welcome our friends from China, and we anticipate more of them to come in the months and years ahead.
According to data from the Department of Tourism, 1.7 million Chinese nationals arrived in the Philippines in 2019. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Bureau of Immigration is set to deport a total of 372 foreigners in several batches this week. Dante Amento will tell us why.
The government is planning to deport 372 illegal immigrant workers within this week or in the coming days. 341 of them are Chinese nationals, while 31 are from other countries. Justice Department spokesperson Asek Miko Clavano said these people violated our immigration laws, particularly overstaying. These are separate from the over 48,000 POGO employees whose companies were shut down by PAGCOR. Clavano added the investigation report of alleged POGO workers who bribed government officials to keep them from being deported would also be ordered.
Once dumating yan sa atin, of course, we will conduct the necessary investigation. The necessary procedures will be put into place para po hindi mangyari yung ganong bagay.
The DOJ emphasized the government cannot tolerate these illegal activities by Chinese nationals. Authorities are looking into a number of cases of kidnapping, murder, and sexual assault committed by Chinese POGO workers.
Itong mga ginagawa ng mga Chinese nationals sa illegal POGO industry ay nakakaabala, nakakalungkot, nakakagalit minsan. Kaya kailangan natin mag-crackdown dito sa mga POGO operators na ito na wala ng lisensya.
Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, Ukraine is seeking more aid from the United Nations Group of Seven or G7 leaders. May Yandog will tell us why live. Good evening, Maeve. Go ahead.
Good evening, Marielle. Russian forces launched more missiles against Ukraine on Tuesday, following widespread strikes that killed at least 19 people, an attack that could potentially amount to war crimes, according to the United Nations Human Rights Office. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed the attacks in his nightly address.
Ворог здійснив другу хвилю терористичної атаки проти нашої держави. За сьогоднішній ранок 28 ракет, із них 20 збито. Більше 15 безпілотників, майже всі ударні, іранські. Більшість
In a virtual meeting with President Zelensky, the leaders of G7 condemned the Russian attack and reaffirmed their support to Ukraine's independence. President Zelensky urged the G7 leaders to impose tougher price caps on Russian oil and gas to stop the country from profiting off its largest exports. The Ukrainian president also thanked the United States and Germany for speeding up the delivery of advanced air defense systems, which will provide medium to long-range defense against missile attacks. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Maeve Yandog, reporting live. The United Nations Development Program, or UNDP, stated that 54 countries are facing a rapidly deepening debt crisis that will result in a rise in poverty. Joselito Liquido will tell us the details live. Yes, Joselito?
Good evening, Marielle. The United Nations Development Program released a report on Tuesday highlighting the need for urgent debt relief of 54 countries, which is home for more than half of the poorest people on the planet. The UNDP said that due to the cascading global crisis, the situation has reached a point that the risk of inaction will be severe and may lead to rise in poverty, with desperately needed investments in climate adaptation and mitigation not happening. This situation is especially problematic since most of the affected countries are also among the most climate vulnerable places in the world. Akeem Steiner, chief of the United Nations Development Program, stated that the urgent need for swift action is very much needed as the risks are constantly growing, having started long before the start of the pandemic. Available data states that the total debt by just 46 of the 54 listed countries have reached $782 billion by 2020, where Argentina, Ukraine, Venezuela are accounting for more than a third of the total amount. The situation has also been worsening at a very fast rate, with 19 developing countries now effectively shut out of the lending market, which was originally only 9 countries at the start of the year. Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Tunisia, Chad, and Zambia top the list of the countries with the most immediate risk. This week, a meeting of the G20 finance ministers in Washington, D.C. is scheduled, followed by the annual meeting of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. The UNDP is optimistic that the conditions are optimal for the creditors and debtors to start debt restructuring talks under the G20 framework. Marielle?
Thank you, Joselito Liquido, for that live report. As many as 115,000 railroad workers in the United States may go on strike. This comes as a union representing workers rejects a deal offered by the White House. Beverly Saison will tell us why.
According to union representatives of railroad workers in the United States of America, the contract drafted by the White House does not properly address the concerns of the railroad workers. By voting down the offer, negotiations between the two sides must continue, thus increasing the possibility of a nationwide strike. The offer included a 24% compounded wage increase, lump sum payments of $5,000, and reimbursement of travel expenses for 50% of eligible workers. The union wants better offers on paid sick leaves, compensation, and safer working conditions. 1/3 of all goods and supplies in the U.S. are transported via rail. A potential strike right before the peak holiday season can lead to the loss of $2 billion in economic output per day. Beverly Saison, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, William.
Yes, thank you, Marielle. The unannounced trip of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to Singapore last October 2nd was partially official and partially personal, according to Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
During the budget deliberation for the 8.9 billion peso proposed budget of the Office of the President, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin said President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. was invited by the Singapore government. The official clarified that it was both an official and personal visit.
No, it was mixed, if you may put it that way, because the President was actually invited by the Prime Minister of Singapore to join him in that revival of that F1 racing in Singapore.
The unannounced Singapore trip sparked criticisms from several groups, and some even questioned what funds were used for the trip. Executive Secretary Bersamin said the trip was not immediately announced due to security reasons. The official also said the president used the trip as an opportunity to strengthen relations with other countries.
The president most likely saw an opportunity for him to expand on the goodwill that he generated when he made the official state visit. But of course, we could not announce that beforehand for security reasons. It is obvious. And the visit then was partly official, partly personal.
Meanwhile, the Senate deliberated on the 4.5 billion peso confidential and intelligence funds of the Office of the President. According to Senate Minority Floor Leader Pimentel, the confidential funds can be better utilized if it is used for the medium-term fiscal framework of the administration. Secretary Bersamin explains that due to the ease of travel restrictions, there might be more state visits for the President and additional security might be necessary.
In a post-pandemic world, we would need a higher response, or we would need to be more responsive to the requirements of international and domestic security.
Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Light Rail Manila Corporation seeks to operate the 11.7-kilometer Cavite Extension of the Light Railway Transit 1 by 2023, helping suburban residents who travel daily to work in Metro Manila. JP Nunez reports.
Since it began breaking ground in 2019, the Phase 1 of the Light Rail Transit Line 1 Cavite Extension has progressed at a rate of 73% as of the end of August this year. According to Light Rail Manila Corporation, these include electromechanical work such as laying of rails and the installation of electrical system, as well as the construction of 5 additional stations including Redemptorist, MIA, PITX Asia World, Ninoy Aquino, and Dr. Santos.
Pumunta kayo dun sa area, makikita nyo, doon pa lang sa Meroas Boulevard, tumawid na yung release doon, makikita ng kababayan natin, meron ng structure doon, yung tinatawag natin na viaduct, yun yung dadaanan ng tren. No?
The LRT administration projects that the railway extension project would be operational next year.
Sa ating projection, magiging operational ito sometime next year. So yun ang hinahabol natin na maisakatuparan na ito para next year magagamit na ng ating mga pasahero ito, especially yung mga pupunta ng NAIA doon sa airport. Kasi one of the station na itatayo natin o tinatayo na ngayon is doon sa tapat ng NAIA sa may airport.
Travel time from Cavite to Ninoy Aquino International Airport is expected to be reduced by up to 25 minutes from about 2 hours with the LRT-1 Cavite Extension. Once fully operational, it is anticipated to increase daily passenger capacity from 500,000 to 800,000. LRT Line 1 only extends to 20 stations as of the present, from Roosevelt Avenue in Quezon City to Baclaran Station in Pasay. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Senator Robin Hood Padilla accepted PNP Chief Police General Rodolfo Azurin Jr.'s apologies for using the word Muslim improperly to characterize criminals. Leah Ilagan reports why.
The Muslim community reacts to the video of the foiled escape of the 3 Abu Sayyaf group members detained in PNP Custodial Center last Sunday. A policeman was heard on a video saying Muslim suspects. Senator Robin Hood Padilla called this an unnecessary act of discrimination. This is due to the fact that the word Muslim refers to all Muslim brothers and sisters. Senator Padilla urges the PNP to refer to the suspects by name. PNP Chief Police General Rodolfo Azurin Jr. publicly apologizes for this reason to Senator Padilla and the Muslim community.
We really do apologize for that statement, but we don't. It was not intended po to discriminate anybody po. That's why we made our public apology to Senator Robin Padilla, and we will ensure po na these things will be discussed thoroughly within the PNP organization, and that a better terminology siguro, or a better way in identifying po yung mga criminals.
Meanwhile, Senator Padilla visited General Azurin in Camp Crame this afternoon to thank him for his humility.
Ako po ay nagtungo po dito sa ating mga bayaning kapulisan, sa Philippine National Police, upang magbigay po ng pagpupugay sa ating pong Chief PNP kay General Azurin, sapagkat kami pong mga kamusliman ay naantig po ang aming puso sa kanya pong pagpapakumbaba, at hindi naman po kailangan magbigay ng apology, pero ginawa po niya, nagpakumbaba po siya, at nagsabi po siya na magkakaroon din po talaga ng edukasyon yung ating mga bayaning kapulisan. Kaya po ako nagtungo dito upang magpugay po sa kanya at magpakumbaba din po, at humingi po ng paumanhin sa nangyari pong kaguluhan dito na ipinulot po ng mga Abu Sayyaf.
Additionally, Padilla stated that the acts carried out by these prisoners against former Senator De Lima are against Islamic teachings. One of the 3 suspects, Feliciano Sulayaw, was killed by Police Colonel Mark Pespes last Sunday while trying to hold De Lima hostage. Leah Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Buckingham Palace has announced that King Charles III's coronation will be held on Saturday, the 6th of May next year. From London, United Kingdom, here's Jella Garmino to tell us the details live. Yes, Jella, go ahead.
Marielle, Buckingham Palace has just announced on Tuesday evening King Charles III's coronation will be held on Saturday, the 6th of May, taking place in the historic Westminster Abbey of London. Alongside the King, Camilla the Queen Consort will also be crowned during the ceremony, both anointed as sovereign and crowned traditionally conducted by the Archbishop of Canterbury. The king ascended to monarch automatically when his mother, the late queen, passed away. However, the ceremony will serve as a symbolic celebration of the new monarch's reign. This will be the first coronation that the nation will see after almost 70 years since Queen Elizabeth II's coronation in June 1953, making King Charles, 74 at the time of the event, as the oldest new monarch to be anointed. In Buckingham Palace's announcement, we can expect that the ceremony will combine the long-standing traditions whilst reflecting the monarch's role today and look towards the future. The ceremony is expected to have an international scale of viewers, potentially with a worldwide audience of hundreds of millions via television. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Jella Garmino, reporting live from London, United Kingdom. Meanwhile, for the third time in a week, the Singapore Food Agency, or SFA, extended the recall of Mi Setup instant noodles from Indonesia after detecting a pesticide in the chili powder. The affected products include the Mi Setup Carry Special Instant Cup Noodles, expiring on March 27, 2023, and the Mi Setup Korean Spicy Chicken Instant Cup Noodles, expiring on April 24, 2023. Both were found to be contaminated with ethylene oxide, according to SFA's statement. SFA has already recalled a total of 6 products under the Mi Setup Instant Noodle brand. The manufacturer PT Wing Surya says they will remove Mi Setup noodles from the retail market and reformulate them to rectify the cause of ethylene oxide contamination. SFA also advises consumers who purchase the affected products not to consume them, while those who have should seek medical advice. The New Zealand government is proposing taxes for greenhouse gases produced by farm animals, although farmers were quick to criticize the plan. From New Zealand, Paul Gatchalian will tell us the details live. Yes, Paul, go ahead.
Marielle, New Zealand has proposed a world's first scheme wherein farmers will need to pay for agricultural emissions by 2025. The farming industry in New Zealand accounts for roughly half of the country's emissions. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has announced the proposed levy, stating that the plan sets New Zealand's farmers to be first in the world to reduce agricultural emissions. The money will be put back into the industry in order to finance new technologies, research, and incentive payments for farmers. Meanwhile, this news has faced much opposition from several farmer groups. Federated Farmers National President Andrew Haggard said that the plan will throw out 2.5 years' worth of the industry's work, as it leads to farmers selling their land and making way for trees rather than farming agriculture. There were also concerns from different parties that this would potentially increase emissions due to sourcing food from countries that have less efficient farming methods. The proposal will be open to consultation until the 18th of November, allowing farmers to give their objections to the scheme. Back to you, Marielle.
All right, thank you, Paul Gatchalian, reporting live from New Zealand. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Mariela Toza, reporting live from Perth, Australia. Good evening.
And it is now official. The Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections will be moved to the last Monday of October 2023. Dante Amento tells us why live. Yes, Dante, good evening. Go ahead.
Good evening, William. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has signed into law the measure postponing the 2022 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections to the last Monday of October 2023. A copy of the measure released to the public showed that President Marcos Jr. signed Republic Act 11935 on October 10. The new law states that all incumbent barangay and youth officials must serve until their successors are elected or they are sooner removed or suspended for cause. After October 2023, the next local elections or barangay elections will be held every 3 years. In a statement, Commission on Elections or COMELEC Chairman George Erwin Garcia said they would comply with the law even as the poll body continues with the preparations for the polls. Garcia said the postponement would allow the poll body to continue the voter registration in order to ensure greater election participation of the citizenry. Meanwhile, William George Garcia, the poll body chief, said that they will release an announcement regarding the adjustment of the calendar of activities relating to the local polls. That's our latest live from Quezon City. Back to you, William.
Yes, thank you, Dante Amento, reporting live from Quezon City. According to Times Higher Education's World University Rankings report, the Ateneo de Manila University has surpassed the University of the Philippines to take the top spot in the nation for the year 2023. In the current list of the best universities in the world, Ateneo is placed 351 to 400. The UP is ranked 801 to 1,000. De La Salle University, or DLSU, is ranked 1201 to 1,500. And Mapue University is ranked 1,501 plus. The rank of Ateneo was due to its scores in teaching research, citations, industry income, and international outlook. Other universities that reported their results 2 times higher education but were not ranked include Cebu Technological University, Mindanao State University, Iligan Institute of Technology, University of Santo Tomas, University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines, Tarlac Agricultural University, and Visayas State University. Meanwhile, a communication expert recommends that in order to prevent confusion, fake news surveys should include what respondents think are false information. Janice Inhente explains why.
According to the most recent Pulse Asia survey, which was conducted during September 17 to 21, 2022, 58% of the 1,200 adult Filipino respondents nationwide believe that social media influencers, bloggers, and video bloggers are responsible for disseminating false information. The survey also shows that 40% of respondents think journalists are second on the list of those who spread false information. Professor Danilo Araw says that while Filipinos somehow acknowledge vloggers and bloggers or content creators and influencers are getting out of hand on fact-checking matters. According to a survey, there are trust issues and decreased credibility with the Philippine press. Araw thinks it's more important for groups who will conduct surveys, especially on fake news, to include what respondents think are false information and are not fake to avoid confusion on the credibility, especially on media.
Kasi medyo nakakalito yung ilang mga punto ng survey na yon. Una, sinasabi yung pangunahing source of fake news daw ay yung mga bloggers, content creators, and influencers. Sige, pwedeng maipaliwanag yon batay dun sa fact-checking na ginawa ng iba't ibang mga grupo na nagsasabing sila talaga ay maraming mga kamalian at irresponsibilidad sa mga content na inilalabas nila. Kaya lang yung mga periodista bilang ikalawang pinagmumulan daw ng pekeng balita, kailangang mas mabutise ang pagsusuri nito. Una, ano ba ang definition ng pekeng balita? Ikalawa, ano yung mga news media organization na talagang wagas kung magpakalat ng pekeng balita?
Nearly 90% of adult Filipinos surveyed by Pulse Asia believe that fake news and false information are problems in the Philippines. While 68% of people have read, heard, or saw false news on the internet or on social media, 67% have done so for television, 32% have done so for radio, and 28% have gotten it through friends and acquaintances. Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay, As the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word giving glory to God from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 9. It says, "Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools." And those are the reasons behind the news October 12, 2022, reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am William Theo. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. We serve the people, we give glory to God.